If the old Chuyang could make people question reality just by buying a Koenigsegg worth over 100 million RMB, then now he had started seriously considering a completely different problem. A 1 billion RMB villa was simply too big for one person to live in. Should he start with 30 household staff, professional chefs covering China's 8 major regional cuisines, 20 elite security guards, and maybe a private butler who graduated from MIT? The craziest part was this. Anyone else who wanted to book a high-end household team through Tianhai Household Services had to get in line at least a month in advance. Even the gold-level butler reserved by top rich heir Qin Mu was booked out until next year. But Chuyang simply picked up his phone and said one thing. Have everyone at my house before 3. 40 minutes later, dozens of staff members really were standing in neat rows inside his 1 billion RMB villa number 9. Qin Mu fell silent on the spot. He was beginning to seriously wonder what kind of monster his new neighbor actually was. It all started with the boast Qin Mu had just made. Last night, Wang Yu had tried to save face by claiming he had bought a villa at Dongjiao No. 1 estate. The system had casually handed Chuyang the most expensive property in the entire development, Villa No. 9. Today, Qin Mu had mentioned in front of Chuyang, with a villa this big, you really should have a professional household staff. I used to keep a whole team through Tianhai. The system made its judgment again, bragging. And so, reward, 100% ownership of Tianhai Household Services. Tianhai Household Services was no ordinary cleaning company. Its real clients were all high-net-worth customers across China. Senior butlers, private chefs, professional security, drivers, gardeners, lifestyle assistants. It could even customize an entire private service team around a client's specific needs. Even ordinary wealthy clients couldn't necessarily get a team right away just because they had money. Qin Mu was about to warn Chuyang. Young Master Chu, Tianhai's teams are extremely hard to book. But before he could finish, Chuyang had already called the company manager. Arrange 30 household staff for me. I want chefs covering all 8 major Chinese cuisines, 20 top-tier security guards, and 1 senior private butler. The person on the other end asked, would an MIT economics graduate work? Chuyang answered without even thinking. Sure. It's 2 in the afternoon now. Have everyone at Villa No. 9, Dongjiao No. 1 estate, before 3. The call ended. Qin Mu sat stiffly on the sofa. After a moment, he asked hesitantly, Young Master Chu, that person you just called, was that Manager Chang from Tianhai Household Services? Yeah, they'll be here soon. The corner of Qin Mu's mouth twitched. He had dealt with Manager Chang before. That man would never break company rules just because someone came from a powerful family, not even for a genuine top-tier rich heir. No availability meant no availability. There was a wait list, and you waited. Qin Mu himself had tried to replace the staff at Villa No. 8 not long ago. Tianhai Household Services had told him, no staff available. Stay on the list. His turn still hadn't come. And Chuyang? 1 phone call. 40 minutes? Was this even a reservation? This looked more like the owner personally reassigning staff. The thought had barely crossed Qin Mu's mind, when a girl suddenly cried out in pain outside the villa. Ow! Tang Xinran reacted first. He rushed outside, and not long after, dragged a young woman back in with him. Who are you? What were you doing sneaking around outside? The girl struggled as she shouted. Easy. That hurts. That hurts. Chuyang was a little surprised when he saw her. It was Jin Yu, the girl he had seen earlier at Xingtian Investment. Let her go. Tang Xinran released her. Jin Yu rubbed her arm, then made herself right at home and sat down on the sofa. She even greeted Qin Mu first. Hi, young Master Qin. Qin Mu? What exactly was this girl's deal? Chuyang looked helpless too. You followed me all the way from Xingtian Investment to Dongjiao No. 1 estate. What exactly do you want? Jin Yu was straightforward about it. I want tickets to Zhou Lunjia's concert. 1 sentence. Left even Tang Xinran stunned. 4 concert tickets. She had followed someone all the way to a 1 billion RMB villa? Were young fans really this hardcore now? Jin Yu hurried to explain. She had bragged to her best friend Su Ruoyan that she knew a top entertainment agent and could easily get tickets to Zhou Lunjia's concert. Except she hadn't managed to get a single ticket. Then, at the Michelin 3-star restaurant, she had personally seen Zhou Lunjia carrying a whole stack of tickets and offering them to Chuyang himself. At that point, there was no way she was letting the opportunity go. Hey, handsome, you can't possibly use that many tickets. Sell me a few? Or, if nothing else, Do it for Sunua's sake. To prove she really knew Sunua, she even pulled up photos on her phone of herself with Sunua and Su Ruayun. Chuyang looked at them briefly. He had no reason to doubt her. Then he looked at Tang Xinran. Tang Xinran immediately pulled out the entire stack of tickets. Jin Yu's eyes lit up. I want two. But just as Tang Xinran was about to pull 2 tickets from the stack, Chuyang said, give her all of them. I won't use them anyway. Jin Yu froze. The whole stack. All for her? Then what are you going to do when you go to the concert? I have a permanent black gold pass. I can go in any time. Qin Mu had only been sitting off to the side watching the show, but when he heard the words permanent black gold pass, his expression changed again. Young Master Chu, isn't Zhou Luanjia's permanent black gold pass something only senior executives at Huanqing Entertainment can get? The pass didn't just mean you could attend the concert. It was a symbol of status. Huanqing Entertainment represented a huge roster of stars. Its connections in the entertainment industry were extremely strong. There was no way a permanent black gold pass would be handed out casually. Chuyang thought for a moment. Maybe. I'm not really sure. Then he added, in the most natural tone imaginable, Huanqing Entertainment belongs to me now. The room went silent. Suddenly, the tickets in Jin Yu's hands didn't feel nearly as exciting. What? Huanqing Entertainment? Belonged to Chuyang? The entire entertainment company that represented Zhou Luanjia, the singer she had loved for so long, was actually owned by the young man sitting right in front of her? No wonder Zhou Luanjia kept calling him God Chu when they met. No wonder he had personally brought over concert tickets. No wonder he had even asked Chuyang whether he planned to come. So this wasn't just some ordinary fan relationship at all. The ultimate boss of the entire company was sitting right here. Qin Mu silently updated the list in his head. A Koenigsegg 1:1. Villa number 9 at Dongjiao number 1 estate, worth 1 billion RMB. And now Huanqing Entertainment, a company worth tens of billions. Yet through all of it, Chuyang's expression had barely changed. That was the most terrifying part. Just then, the time reached exactly 2:40 p.m. A burst of activity suddenly came from outside the villa. Soon, an absurdly large team filed neatly into Villa number 9. Household staff, chefs, security guards, lifestyle assistants. Every one of them wore a matching uniform. Their movements were orderly and professional. Just standing there, they were clearly on a completely different level from ordinary domestic service workers. The woman at the front stood out even more. Professional business attire. Long hair pinned up. Young and beautiful. But the first impression she gave wasn't softness. It was competence. She walked up to Chuyang and bowed slightly. Hello, Mr. Chu. I'm your private butler, Bai Yue. I graduated from MIT with a major in economics. Qin Mu, who had just returned from the garage, happened to hear that. He nearly lost his footing. Bai Yue? It was actually her. One of the hardest gold-level butlers to book through Tianhai Household Services. Qin Mu himself had once specifically requested Bai Yue for his villa. The answer he got was, ask again next year. And now, the woman whose schedule was already booked through next year, had appeared in Chuyang's home within 40 minutes. And she was going to be his permanent private butler? If there wasn't something going on behind the scenes here, Qin Mu would eat his own Villa number 8. Bai Yue quickly took control of the entire Villa number 9 household. Staff assignments, kitchen arrangements, security zones, daily necessities, vehicle needs. Everything was handled in perfect order. For the first time, Chuyang truly understood how convenient it was to have a professional butler. Before, there had been plenty of minor things he had to arrange himself. Now, all he needed to do was say one sentence. Someone else handled everything after that. Chuyang saw that it was still early. Then it occurred to him that while the villa had a Koenigsegg, it wasn't exactly practical for everyday use. He couldn't drive the 1:1 every time he went out to buy groceries. So he asked Tang Xinran, is there a reliable dealership nearby? Tang Xinran answered immediately. Yes. Fengyu Auto Group. It's one of the largest automotive groups in China. It used to get pushed around in Shanghai by the U Group, but apparently the U Group offended some terrifying big shot yesterday and practically collapsed overnight. Chuyang smiled. They didn't offend some terrifying big shot. They offended me. Tang Xinran stopped walking mid-step. Huh, the U Group, worth over 10 billion RMB, really fell apart because of Brother Yang? Chuyang didn't explain any further. The group soon arrived at Fengyu Auto Group. The service there was actually quite good. No one treated customers differently based on how they were dressed. Chuyang liked that. As he looked at cars with Qin Mu, the two started chatting about different models. Qin Mu was a genuine top-tier supercar enthusiast. Chu Yang, meanwhile, had the god-tier driving skills awarded by the system. To their surprise, the two got along extremely well. But they hadn't gone far when a middle-aged man in a suit suddenly hurried over. The moment he saw Chu Yang, he bent forward at once. "Boss, why did you suddenly come by? You didn't even give us a heads up." "I'm Zhan Chao, the current general manager of Fengyu Auto Group." Qin Mu went quiet again. "Boss? Another company?" He slowly turned to look at Chu Yang. Chu Yang simply nodded as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "The dealership is well managed. Keep it up." Zhan Chao nodded repeatedly. "Boss, are you here to inspect the dealership today?" "No. I'm buying a few cars." Chu Yang glanced across the showroom. One Mercedes G-Class, one Land Rover, and a Ferrari. Anything in the 2 to 4 million RMB range is fine. Don't make them too expensive. Keep it low-key. Jin Yu, Tang Xinran, Qin Mu, cars worth several million RMB. And he called that low-key? But coming from Chu Yang, who drove a Koenigsegg and lived in a 1 billion RMB villa, it somehow really did count as low-key. Zhan Chao was extremely efficient. 3 minutes later, the paperwork was basically finished. After all, Chu Yang was the owner. What kind of process did he need to follow to buy cars from his own company? He couldn't even be bothered to choose the exact models or colors. He simply told Tang Xinran to handle it. Zhan Chao asked where the cars should be delivered. Tang Xinran answered without even looking up. "Villa number 9, Dongjiao number 1 estate." Zhan Chao's hand shook. Villa number 9? The one worth 1 billion RMB? He suddenly felt that his new boss was even more terrifying than he had imagined. After the vehicles were arranged, Zhan Chao personally brought out 3 Fengyu Auto Group Supreme VIP cards and gave them to Qin Mu, Tang Xinran, and Jin Yu. Fewer than 100 of these cards had been issued nationwide. They came with absolute priority purchasing rights. For certain limited edition supercars, everyone else waited in line. These cardholders went first. Tang Xinran could still pretend to be calm. Jin Yu, however, stared at the card in her hand with shining eyes. One little stalking trip had gotten her a whole stack of Zhou Lunjia concert tickets for free, plus a Supreme card from one of the country's top luxury car companies. She had hit the jackpot, but Chu Yang clearly wasn't planning to keep her around all day. "Zhan Chao, have someone take Jin Yu home." Jin Yu immediately looked reluctant. "So soon? I haven't even finished looking at the cars. You can come back by yourself later." Chu Yang glanced at the VIP card in her hand. "Don't you have a card now?" Jin Yu's eyes darted around. Then she suddenly put on a pitiful expression. "Well, brother Chu Yang, you're so handsome. You wouldn't turn down a cute girl asking for your contact info, would you?" Chu Yang turned his head. "Tang Xinran, give her your number." Tang Xinran, "Huh?" Jin Yu. In the end, the two of them exchanged contact information anyway. Only then did Jin Yu leave happily, hugging the thick stack of tickets to her chest. Chu Yang returned to Villa number 9. The moment he stepped through the door, dozens of staff members bowed slightly at the same time. "Welcome home, young master." A towel was placed within reach. Tea had already been prepared. The indoor temperature, the lighting, even his slippers had all been arranged in advance. Qin Mu sat nearby, and suddenly felt like his own Villa number 8 was an unfinished shell by comparison. How could the quality of life between two people be this different? He couldn't help asking, "Young Master Chu, do you have anything else planned today?" Chu Yang thought for a moment. "I'm going to take a look at Huijin International this afternoon." Qin Mu froze mid-motion. Huijin International? The Fortune China 500 company? Huijin International, with a market value of over 200 billion RMB? He asked cautiously. "Don't tell me. Huijin International belongs to you too?" Chu Yang paused. "How did you know?" Qin Mu. He had literally just guessed. And somehow he got it right again? What was wrong with this world? Huanqing Entertainment, Fengyu Auto Group, Villa number 9. And now even Huijin International belonged to him? Nothing. Just a random guess. Qin Mu suddenly felt a little dry in the throat. Chu Yang, meanwhile, asked casually, "Want to come with me?" Yes. Of course he was going. At this point, Qin Mu was intensely curious about his new neighbor. He genuinely wanted to know how many more secrets Chu Yang was hiding. They agreed to leave at 5 that afternoon. Qin Mu went back to Villa number 8 to rest first. But the moment he got home, he did something top rich heirs also love doing. Showing off. Qin Mu opened a WeChat group for Shanghai's top young heirs. There were only a little over 20 people in the group, but every one of their families had wealth ordinary people could barely imagine. First, he posted a close-up photo of the Koenigsegg 1:1. Then he casually wrote, "This car's not bad." The group exploded instantly. 1:1? Chin Mu, when did you get one? Whose car is that? The globally limited one? Don't tell me it's yours? Chin Mu lay on his bed staring at the 99+ unread messages, grinning from ear to ear. But unexpectedly, someone recognized the car very quickly. Isn't that God Choose 1:1? The owner is Chu Yang, the guy who's been trending lately for dropping one Korean challenger with every slap. Someone dropped a video link into the group. Everyone opened it. In the video, Chu Yang stood in the ring. One slap, one man down. Another slap, another one down. More than a dozen challengers were all on the floor in under 10 seconds. At the end, Chu Yang got into the 1:1 and drove away. The group started flying again. Holy crap! Chin Mu, you know God Chu? You even took that photo up close. Are you with him right now? Chin Mu had finally reached the moment he had been waiting for. He started showing off while pretending not to. More or less. He's my new neighbor. He lives next door in Villa number 9. We're heading over to Huijin International together this afternoon. A wall of question marks instantly flooded the chat. Villa number 9? The one worth 1 billion RMB? Someone still hadn't processed it. Why are you two going to Huijin International? Chin Mu leisurely delivered the finishing blow. Oh, forgot to mention. Huijin International is one of young Master Chu's businesses too. The group went silent for several seconds. Then it completely blew up. What kind of joke was this? A guy in his 20s. A globally limited supercar. A 1 billion RMB villa. A corporate group worth over 200 billion RMB. And he was also the martial arts expert who had just gone viral online. What kind of family produced someone like this? Why had none of them ever heard this name before? Chen Wei, the group's self-proclaimed intel prince, was even more confused. He had already had people investigate Chu Yang. According to the records, ordinary family, ordinary university, ordinary job. He had even been unemployed not long ago, which raised one obvious question. What ordinary unemployed young man could suddenly own 1 or 200 billion RMB in assets? Where exactly had their information gone wrong? Even Wang Song, another genuine top-tier heir in their circle, was drawn into the conversation. Chin Mu, set something up when you get the chance. I'd like to meet young Master Chu too. When Chin Mu saw that message, he finally realized he might have taken his flexing a little too far. But the words were already out there. All he could do was reply. We'll get everyone together in a few days when there's a chance. Meanwhile, Chin Yu had made it home too. The first thing she did was take a picture. A whole stack of Zhou Luanjia concert tickets, with a Fenyu Auto Group Supreme VIP card placed beside them. Then she posted it to WeChat Moments. Can't wait for Zhou Luanjia's concert. Not long after the photo went up, her friends lost their minds. Holy crap! That many tickets? Sell me one. Please give me one. Chin Yu, you really do know someone on the inside? Even Su Ruoyan was stunned. How many tickets did you get? Of course Chin Yu wasn't about to admit she had followed Chiang all the way across Shanghai and then gotten the tickets by acting cute. She sent a smug emoji. Didn't I tell you? Your girl has connections. I've got more tickets than I know what to do with now. The boast she had made had somehow come true by sheer accident. 5 in the afternoon. Chiang and Chin Mu left right on time. The Mercedes G-Class stopped outside Huijin International headquarters. At that exact moment, Chu Yang's college classmate Zhou Jiang happened to be walking out of the building. His real job was only that of an ordinary employee in the marketing department. At the class reunion a few days earlier, however, he had bragged that he had already worked his way up to marketing director just to save face. He had even claimed he could get Chu Yang a job at the company. Now, seeing Chu Yang appear at the company entrance, Zhou Jiang's heart sank. Crap! If Chu Yang went inside and casually asked anyone, wouldn't he immediately find out that Zhou Jiang wasn't a director at all? Zhou Jiang hurried over. Chu Yang, what are you doing here? Just taking a look around. Chu Yang started toward the entrance. Zhou Jiang quickly blocked him. There's really nothing worth seeing inside. It's just a normal trading company. Didn't you just take over that whole building at Thompson Riviera a few days ago? Come on, come on. I'll buy you coffee. Chu Yang found it a little strange. The more Zhou Jiang tried to keep him out, the more he wanted to go in. No, really. I have something to take care of inside. Zhou Jiang was still scrambling for another excuse. Actually, Qin Mu finally couldn't hold back a laugh from the side. Because he had already figured it out. This guy was actually trying to stop the chairman of his own company from entering the building. And from the looks of it, he had absolutely no idea who Chu Yang really was. Interesting. Young Master Chu, Qin Mu spoke up. It's about time. Let's go in. Zhou Jiang's body instantly stiffened. Only then did he really notice the person standing beside Chu Yang. When he recognized the face, his heart jumped hard. Qin Mu, one of Shanghai's absolute top rich heirs. Ordinary second-generation rich kids barely even counted in front of someone like him. And now, what had Qin Mu just called Chu Yang? Young Master Chu? Zhou Jiang suddenly felt like his brain had stopped working. But something even more ridiculous came next. The moment the two men entered the lobby, the receptionist had already stood up. She bowed slightly. Good afternoon, boss. Welcome to the company. Zhou Jiang stood there as if he had been struck by lightning. Boss? Who? Chu Yang? Slowly, he looked up at the enormous Huijin International logo, a Fortune China 500 group worth over 200 billion RMB. Chu Yang was the owner. Very soon, President Liu, the company's executive president, personally came downstairs. This was someone Zhou Jiang normally had to greet respectfully from a distance whenever he saw him. This time, President Liu didn't even glance at Zhou Jiang. He walked straight up to Chu Yang. Boss, welcome to the company for your inspection. This way, please. Now, Zhou Jiang finally believed it completely. At the reunion a few days ago, he had even patted Chu Yang on the shoulder and said, I'm doing pretty well at Huijin International. If you want to join us, I can put in a word with HR. But the truth was, the entire group belonged to Chu Yang. Where had he found the nerve to say that back then? Zhou Jiang wanted to crawl into a crack in the floor and disappear. Chu Yang, however, didn't deliberately humiliate him. Instead, he glanced at him and said, since we ran into each other, if you're free, want to come upstairs with us? Zhou Jiang understood immediately. Chu Yang was giving him face. In front of the company's executive president, he was openly acknowledging Zhou Jiang as an old classmate. Even if Chu Yang said nothing else, how many people in the company would dare push Zhou Jiang around after this? For the first time, Zhou Jiang genuinely regretted it. At the reunion a few days ago, why had he insisted on showing off like that? Fortunately, Chu Yang wasn't holding a grudge. After that, Chu Yang began touring the company. It didn't take long for all of Huijin International to hear the news. The mysterious new owner had arrived, and he was unbelievably young. More importantly, the more many of the younger employees looked at him, the more familiar he seemed. Wait, isn't the boss that God Chu guy from the internet? The one who dropped more than a dozen challengers with one slap each? Holy crap, it really is him. No wonder he drives a 1:1. Stop staring only at the boss. Isn't that young Master Qin Mu next to him? Oh my god. The new owner of a 100 billion level group, walking around the company with one of Shanghai's top rich heirs. And Zhou Jiang was following them the entire time. The more the employees watched, the more convinced they became that Zhou Jiang was about to take off. And they were right. After Chu Yang left, President Liu returned to his office. The first thing he did was write a termination notice. The recipient, the current marketing director, Director Zhao. Director Zhao was capable enough, but he was extremely petty. He had always deliberately made things difficult for Zhou Jiang. Now the boss was clearly an old classmate of Zhou Jiang's. How could President Liu possibly fail to understand what that meant? Not long after, Director Zhao was called into the office. Director Zhao, I'm sorry. This is your termination notice. Director Zhao was completely stunned. Why? If I'm not the marketing director, then who is? At that moment, the office door opened. Zhou Jiang walked in. President Liu said calmly, from now on, Zhou Jiang is the marketing director. Zhou Jiang froze too. Then, an absurd feeling washed over him. A few days ago, he had merely bragged at the class reunion, claiming he had become Huijin International's marketing director within 3 years. And now, the boast he had made had actually come true. Just not through his own efforts. It happened because of one casual gesture from Chu Yang. Meanwhile, Chu Yang and Qin Mu had already left the company. It was almost 6 in the evening. Qin Mu asked, where are we going next? I don't have anything planned. Want to come over to my place for dinner? Qin Mu's eyes lit up. He had personally seen the chefs Tianhai Household Services had sent over, covering all 8 major Chinese cuisines. Private chefs at that level might honestly be better than the kitchens at most restaurants. I'm in. Back at Villa Number 9, a full table of food was soon served. Before eating, Chin-woo naturally took a few pictures. Then he posted them in the Rich Air group chat. Tianhai Household Services professional chefs for all 8 major cuisines. Not bad. The group immediately started cursing him out. Chin-woo, what is wrong with you lately? Posting food porn every day. We're calling the police. Is this young Master Chu's Villa Number 9? How long are you planning to keep flexing? Someone suddenly suggested. We've got a gathering at Red Romance tonight. Bring young Master Chu along. Chin-woo thought the timing was perfect. He turned to Chu-yang. Young Master Chu. Some friends booked a room at Red Romance. Wanna go hang out tonight? The moment Chu-yang heard the name, he realized it was another one of his businesses. Which room? Supreme 666. Chu-yang picked up his phone and called Wang Ji directly. A few friends of mine are in 666. Move them to my 888. And one more thing. Send over 2 cases of collector-grade wine from Prajna Estate. We'll drink it tonight. The call ended. Chin-woo froze with his chopsticks halfway to his mouth. Red Romance 888. Prajna Estate. He slowly asked. Young Master Chu. Don't tell me Red Romance. It's mine. What about Prajna? Mine too. Chin-woo fell completely silent. How many days had he even known Chu-yang? And how many times had he already heard the words? It's mine. Huanqing Entertainment. Fengyu Auto Group. Huijin International. Red Romance Club. Prajna Estate. Plus Villa Number 9. An entire building at Thompson Riviera. A Koenigsegg 1:1. And that absurdly elite Tianhai Household Services team. Chin-woo suddenly felt that his former life as a top rich heir didn't seem all that impressive anymore. Meanwhile, at Red Romance Club, more than 20 genuine members of Shanghai's top second-generation elite had already arrived. Wang Song and Chen Wei were among them. When Wang Ji came in and announced, young Master Chu has moved everyone to Supreme Room 888, the group was still slightly hesitant at first. But then Chin-woo's message hit the group chat. Young Master Chu prepared 2 cases of collector-grade wine from Prajna Estate. Everyone stood up immediately. Move! Of course they were moving. Supreme 888 was already the highest-level private room inside Red Romance. Ordinary customers didn't even know it existed. And now, on their first meeting, Chu-yang had opened 888 to them directly. He had even prepared 2 cases of Prajna Estate's reserve wine. That was more than enough respect. Not long after, Chu-yang and Chin-woo arrived at the room. The more than 20 young heirs inside stood up one after another. Young Master Chu, welcome. Finally, we get to meet you in person. Chin-woo made the introductions. Before long, Chu-yang had met the true top tier of Shanghai's younger elite circle. The person with the highest standing among them was Wang Song. Wang Song personally stood up and shook Chu-yang's hand. Young Master Chu, nice to finally meet you. Wang Song, Chu-yang. The two shook hands. That simple gesture also meant Chu-yang had formally been accepted into this top-tier second-generation circle. But that wasn't what Chu-yang actually cared about, because he had discovered something. Rich heirs bragged too, and the rewards were obviously even more outrageous than those from ordinary people. While everyone was drinking and chatting, a young heir named Meng Xiaobai casually said, I recently invested in a new energy company. Their battery technology is about to make a major breakthrough. Soon, phones and cars will charge for 1 minute and run all day. Detected, Meng Xiaobai is bragging. Reward, advanced new energy battery technology. After Chu-yang reviewed the information, his expression changed. Meng Xiaobai's boast had been, full charge in 1 minute. Use it all day. But the actual technology the system gave Chu-yang could achieve. Ultra-fast charging in around 10 seconds. With extremely long operating time. This was no longer just a car or a house. This was technology that could genuinely transform an entire industry. For the first time, Chu-yang clearly realized something. As the level of people around him kept rising, the system's rewards were beginning to shift away from simple assets and toward things with real future value. Meng Xiaobai had no idea that one casual boast had just handed Chu-yang a technology capable of building an enormous business empire. He was still chatting with the people around him. Meanwhile, the young heirs were growing more and more curious about Chu-yang. The moment Chu-yang went to the restroom, they instantly surrounded Chin-woo. Come on, tell us, what's young Master Chu's real background? Why can't anyone find anything on him? Does Villa Number 9 really belong to him? What about Huijin International? Chin-woo felt like his moment had finally arrived. I don't know his real background either, but I can tell you this. Young Master Chu is insanely rich. Someone laughed. Which one of us isn't rich? Qin Mu glanced at them. Then he started counting. Koenig said 1:1. Villa number 9 at Dongjiao number 1 Estate. Huijin International. Huanqing Entertainment. Fengyu Auto Group. Red Romance Club. Prujna Estate. An entire building at Thompson Riviera. He dropped 500 million RMB into Xingtian investment like it was nothing. He uses Tianhai Household Services' highest level team at home. And his private butler is Bai Yue. At first, someone was still drinking. But as Qin Mu kept talking, the wineglass slowly came down. By the end, the entire room had only one thought left. So who exactly were the rich heirs here? They themselves came from very wealthy families. But most of those assets ultimately belonged to their parents and clans. Chuyang. Everything Qin Mu had just listed seemed to belong to him personally. And the scariest part was, Qin Mu added one more sentence. From what I can tell, he only got most of these things recently. Everyone started questioning reality. Chen Wei was immediately put on the spot by the whole group. Aren't you supposed to be the intel prince? What happened to all that information you dug up? Chen Wei's face darkened. Stop asking. Out of everything I found, the only thing that matches what we're seeing is the name Chuyang. The Chen family had even brought in top hackers to investigate him. They still couldn't find anything. And the less they could uncover, the wilder everyone's imagination became. Someone began to speculate that Chuyang might come from some mysterious level of society none of them could even reach. Otherwise, how could anyone explain a man in his 20s suddenly controlling assets this terrifying? When Chuyang returned, nobody brought the subject up again. Instead, everyone became even warmer toward him. Wang Song sat nearby. After a few drinks, he started talking about beautiful women too. Young Master Chu, I saw two absolute stunners a couple days ago. They were gorgeous to begin with. And they were both dressed head to toe in silver. Cool, sharp, seriously striking. And those figures. Before he could finish, the system arrived. Detected, Wang Song is bragging. Reward, 2 silver stream guards. At first, Qian assumed they were simply 2 beautiful female bodyguards. Then he read the system description. He almost lost his grip on his wineglass. An ordinary professional fighter had a combat rating only in the dozens. Elite Special Forces level experts were above 100. At his own Grandmaster level, Chuyang was somewhere around 200. The silver stream guards awarded by the system, 5,000. And they possessed stealth technology far beyond the current technological level of the world. If they actually fought, Chuyang, a martial arts grandmaster, wouldn't even survive one move against them. How were these merely beautiful women? They were 2 mobile strategic weapons. Chuyang remained calm on the outside. But inwardly, he had already decided that the moment he got home, he was extracting them immediately. The gathering lasted until 10 that night. Everyone got along well. Chuyang had now formally entered Shanghai's top second-generation elite circle. But unexpectedly, the moment he walked out of room 888, a familiar person appeared again. Kim Chong-hwan, the Korean challenger Chuyang had knocked unconscious with his very first slap back at the ring. Clearly, he had learned absolutely nothing. This time, he had even gone out of his way to bring an expert. Mr. Park. Kim Chong-hwan pointed at Chuyang. That's him. He tore down our ring. He injured me too. Please cripple him for me. Wang Song and Qin Mu both changed expression slightly. The presence of the man in front of them, Park Hyung-hyun, was obviously no joke. But the very next second, what happened? Left everyone stunned again. Park Hyung-hyun stared at Chuyang. He spent several seconds confirming his identity. Then he suddenly straightened up and bowed a full 90 degrees. Good evening, boss. Kim Chong-hwan, the expert he had hired, was calling Chuyang boss. Chuyang realized what was going on too. You're with Brandon? Yes. Park Hyung-hyun answered respectfully. I'm Park Hyung-hyun from Brandon Securities Martial Arts Division. Kim Chong-hwan paid me to come here. I didn't know beforehand that the target was you, boss. Please give me a chance to make up for my mistake. Kim Chong-hwan's face had gone white. Suddenly, he remembered. The last time he bragged in front of Chuyang, he had claimed that even the experts from Korea's top security company, Brandon, were no match for him. The result was that the system gave the entire Brandon security company to Chuyang. And now, he had spent a fortune hiring an expert from Brandon to come back and take revenge. Which meant he had hired Chuyang's own employee to beat up Chuyang. What kind of nightmare joke was this? Park Hyung-hyun wanted to prove his loyalty. He didn't even wait for Chu Yang to say anything. He grabbed Kim Chong-hwan and started beating him on the spot. Kim Chong-hwan screamed again and again. The longer Wang Song, Qin Mu, and Chen Wei watched, the more shocked they became. Chen Wei quickly recognized the background of Brandon Security, one of Korea's top security groups, worth tens of billions of RMB, packed with highly trained experts. And somehow, it belonged to Chu Yang too. He even had major businesses overseas. Only after Park Hyung-hyun had beaten Kim Chong-hwan enough did Chu Yang tell him to stop. That's enough. Your skills are pretty good. Go back and tell President Wu. Pick 20 people who can really fight. Send them to Villa Number 9, Dongjiao Number 1 Estate. They'll handle the outer security perimeter. Park Hyung-hyun's eyes lit up. Understood. Being transferred directly to work beside the big boss himself was a huge opportunity. Qin Mu suddenly thought of a game. He pulled Wang Song into a bet. I'm going to ask young Master Chu. I bet Brandon is another company he only got recently. If he says it was recent, your new Ferrari is mine. Wang Song laughed. Deal. Chen Wei joined in too, putting up a limited edition Rolls-Royce. Qin Mu walked over. Young Master Chu, when did you acquire Brandon? Recently. One word. Wang Song and Chen Wei both went silent. Qin Mu grinned triumphantly. He had finally figured out the pattern. Whenever you asked Chu Yang, when did you buy this business? The answer was almost always, recently. After Qin Mu came back, he casually added, seriously. At this point, even if you told me Tianhai Household Services belonged to you too, I wouldn't be surprised. Chu Yang nodded. It does. The smug look on Qin Mu's face froze instantly. He had only been giving an example. How is it actually true? Chen Wei, however, frowned. He wasn't convinced. The Chen family worked in information technology. Their Jian Technology was one of China's top cybersecurity companies. If Tianhai Household Services had undergone a 100% ownership change, there was no way they would have received absolutely no information about it. Chen Wei said, the best hacker in our family, Chen Tao, is considered an expert even on the global stage. If even he can't find anything, then the only explanation would be the world's #1 hacker organization, the Chi-Tian Alliance, stepping in. The moment he finished speaking, inside Chu Yang's mind, the system notification appeared. Detected, Chen Wei is bragging. Reward, the world's #1 hacker alliance, the Chi-Tian Alliance. Even Chu Yang froze for a moment. What kind of day was this? New energy technology, silver stream guards, and now even the world's #1 hacker alliance? In the past, the system had mostly given him visible wealth. Now it was giving him technology, combat power, intelligence networks. What did that mean? Chu Yang suddenly felt that the power he truly possessed was moving beyond simply being rich and into an entirely different realm. As for Kim Chong-hwan, who had been beaten half to death, he was still trying to crawl away while nobody was paying attention. Little by little, he edged toward the lobby entrance. He was almost there, when a pair of leather shoes stopped directly in front of him. Wang Ji, the general manager of Red Romance, smiled down at him. Mr. Kim, where are you going? Kim Chong-won forced himself to look calm. You run a legitimate club. You can't exactly restrict my freedom, can you? Wang Ji nodded. Of course. We're absolutely legitimate. Men, help Mr. Kim to his feet properly. Several security guards immediately hauled him up. Kim Chong-won felt a burst of relief. He thought he had actually intimidated Wang Ji. He even thought to himself, so the general manager of Red Romance wasn't that impressive after all. But once they got into the car, Wang Ji smiled at the driver and said, take him to Sang Biao. If he gets away before you arrive, you can explain it to Brother Biao yourselves. The smile vanished from Kim Chong-won's face instantly. What? Sang Biao? The man whose name made people in Shanghai's underworld turn pale. Wang Ji very thoughtfully added, oh, I forgot to tell you. Our boss, Chu Yang, is Sang Biao's big brother. Kim Chong-won fell into complete despair. What kind of monster had he managed to offend over the past 2 days? Brandon belonged to him. Red Romance belonged to him. And now even Sang Biao called him big brother? The car drove all the way to Sang Biao's residence. That night, Kim Chong-won knelt in the main hall, his whole body trembling. Sang Biao sat on the sofa. I heard, you paid someone to go after my big brother? And you've been setting up challenge rings all over Shanghai? Kim Chong-won immediately started bowing his head to the floor. It's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Sang Biao sneered. Do I look stupid to you? His men swarmed forward. Another beating followed. When Kim Chong-won was dragged back again, his survival instinct completely took over. Big brother, no! Brother Biao, I'll tell you everything. I wasn't the only one running those challenge rings. There are others. I know where they are. To save his own life, he sold out all of his companions without hesitation. After Sang Biao listened, he actually thought the logic made sense. If these people hadn't been setting up challenge rings all over the city, his big brother wouldn't have had to personally step in. What kind of status did his big brother have? Having him deal with a few people like this was a complete waste of his time. So, Sang Biao gave the order directly. One night, take down every related challenge ring in Shanghai. As for those people, handle them yourselves. That night, a lot of people in Shanghai were destined not to sleep well. Chu Yang, however, slept perfectly comfortably. After returning to Villa Number 9, the first thing he did was extract the silver stream guards. The next second, two women appeared out of thin air inside his bedroom. Special silver uniforms, tall figures, exceptionally beautiful faces. One was named Juihua, the other was named Zhuyue. Both lowered their heads at the same time. Silver stream guards Juihua and Zhuyue. Greetings, Master. Chu Yang's first reaction was, you really can turn invisible? Yes. We will remain concealed near young Master at all times. Unless danger appears or you summon us directly, we will not interfere with young Master's normal life. Chu Yang was satisfied. This was true close protection security. Other people wouldn't even know where they were. There was no way to prepare against them in advance. Don't call me Master from now on. Call me young Master. Yes, young Master. The two women gradually vanished from the room. They were completely invisible to the naked eye. But Chu Yang could still sense that they were nearby. That kind of security was something ordinary billionaires could only dream of. There might not be another person in the entire world who had it. He had barely finished arranging the silver stream guards when an encrypted overseas call came in. Boss, I'm Yuan Liang, leader of the Qitian Alliance. His true identity was Liang Yuan, the third-ranked top hacker in the world. Recently, a company called Jiyun has been repeatedly investigating your information. So far, we haven't detected malicious intent. Would you like us to take action? Chu Yang immediately thought of Chen Wei. Chen Wei had mentioned earlier that evening that Jiyun belonged to the Chen family. Keep an eye on them for now. Don't hit them too hard. If they keep crossing the line, give them a small warning. Understood. The call ended. Chu Yang suddenly remembered that he still had one other important reward from that night. The new energy technology Meng Xiaobai had contributed. Leaving something like that sitting inside the system would be a waste. He needed to commercialize it. So, he sent by Yue a message. Yue, register a new energy technology company for me. Focus it on batteries and new energy technology. Have it set up within 3 days. Bai Yue's reply was extremely simple. Yes, young master. With that arranged, Chu Yang went to sleep. But when he woke up the next morning, another piece of news had blown up across Shanghai. A large number of Korean taekwondo gyms had been smashed overnight. Almost everyone involved had ended up in the hospital, and all of them were applying to leave Shanghai as quickly as possible. The internet immediately connected the incident to God Chu from the day before. God Chu fought in the ring yesterday, and today all the gyms are gone? Who actually did it? Korean challengers leaving China together. Who exactly is behind God Chu? Chen Wei saw the news too. He immediately asked Chen Tao, the Chen family hacker, to investigate. The answer came back quickly. The people behind it were Sang Biao's men. Chen Wei's mind immediately went to Chu Yang. Just last night, Kim Chong-won had hired someone from Brandon to retaliate against Chu Yang. Today, everyone connected to the matter had suffered consequences. If someone tried to tell him it had nothing to do with Chu Yang, he wouldn't believe it. But an even more frightening piece of news came next. Chen Tao had gone without proper sleep for a day and 2 nights. He came back with deep dark circles under his eyes. Young master, we can't keep investigating Chu Yang. Why? The Qitian Alliance just sent us a direct warning. Chen Wei's expression changed. The Qitian Alliance? Yes. And the warning came personally from their leader, Yuan Liang. For the first time, Chen Wei truly realized something was wrong. One Chu Yang. Sang Biao handled his problems in the physical world. The world's #1 hacker alliance blocked online investigations into him. What level of connections was this? The more he thought about it, the more curious he became. So Qin Mu went back to Villa Number 9 that very morning. When he arrived, Chu Yang was sitting in the living room drinking tea. Young Master Chu, you're trending again. Again? Chuyang took the tablet Yue handed him. When he saw the news, he was genuinely a little surprised. Who did these Koreans offend? Qin had actually come over specifically to test his reaction. But after hearing that, he became confused instead. Young Master Chu really didn't know? Just then, Chuyang's phone rang. The caller ID read, Sang Biao. Qin eyes widened instantly. Don't tell me it was really that Sang Biao? The call connected. A deep but extremely respectful voice came through. Big brother, I didn't disturb your rest, did I? Qin entire body stiffened. It really was him. The underworld boss whose name normally made countless people in Shanghai nervous. And now, he was carefully calling Chuyang Big Brother. What Qin found even harder to process was the way Chuyang answered. Little Biao, what is it this early? Qin nearly slid off the sofa. Little Biao? Did he have to sound that casual? On the other end of the phone, Sang Biao took full responsibility. Big brother, those Koreans have been getting too arrogant lately, so I handled them while I was at it. You don't mind, do you? Chuyang didn't care at all. If you handled it, then it's handled. It's nothing. Got it. I'll have them leave Shanghai immediately. The call ended. Qin stared at Chuyang and fell into deep thought. He finally understood why Chuyang's real information couldn't be found. Why so many businesses had suddenly appeared under Chuyang's name. Why even overseas security groups obeyed him absolutely. He had to come from some unbelievably mysterious level of society. Chuyang had no idea that Qin had already invented a secret background for him elaborate enough to fill hundreds of thousands of words. He was just about to ask Qin what he was doing that day, when his phone rang again. This time, the caller ID surprised Chuyang a little. Su Wenjing, his younger cousin. Although they both lived in Shanghai, they didn't talk very often because each of them was busy with their own life. Besides, Su Wenjing had been independent since she was little. She rarely asked him for help. Chuyang answered, Wenjing, cousin. She sounded clearly hesitant on the other end. Are you free today? Could you come to Daping Residential Community? Chuyang didn't ask questions. Sure. He ended the call and stood up immediately. Qin had originally wanted to stay longer, but seeing that Chuyang clearly had personal business to handle, he tactfully left. Only as he was walking out did he suddenly realize something. They had known each other for this long, and somehow they still hadn't added each other on WeChat. So Qin hurried back to find Yue. Butler Bai, young Master Chu's WeChat. Not long after, a Mercedes G-Class pulled into Daping Residential Community. This place was a completely different world from Dongjiao No. 1 estate. Ordinary rental housing. Affordable rent. Lots of young office workers. The moment the Mercedes G-Class drove in, a group of older residents gathered around to stare. How much does a car like that cost? A few $100,000? You really don't know cars. That's a G-Class. At least 2 million RMB. Chuyang told the driver to stay in the car and went upstairs by himself. But the moment he got out, another group of older residents started staring at him. Young man, how old are you? Do you have a girlfriend? My granddaughter is 20. My niece just graduated from college. Chuyang barely managed to escape. As soon as he reached the area near apartment 2032, where his cousin lived, he heard a loud middle-aged woman scolding Su Wenjing. What is wrong with you two girls? You leave garbage piled outside your door every day. In weather this hot, the smell is drifting right into my apartment. Su Wenjing clearly felt wronged. Ma'am, it really isn't ours. Someone has been deliberately dumping garbage outside our door. The woman didn't believe her at all. And now you're lying? You young people these days are hopeless. Look at my distant nephew. He just got into MIT. When he graduates, he'll walk straight into a Fortune China 500 company. Chuyang was just about to speak when the system notification arrived. Detected, Gu Zhiyu is bragging. Reward, photographic memory. Chuyang. This system really refused to let anyone escape. Even an auntie bragging about her nephew could produce an ability reward. But right now, Chuyang cared more about his cousin. Ma'am, let's figure out whose garbage it actually is before blaming anyone. She's my cousin. If you're worried about the pregnant woman in your home, you can head back first. The woman looked Chuyang up and down, realizing that this young man clearly carried himself differently. Her tone finally softened a little. Then deal with it quickly. With that, she left. Su Wenjing immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Cousin, you're finally here. The two went inside. Chuyang had barely sat down when another bedroom door opened. A young woman stepped out. Petite figure. A cute-looking face. But her personality had absolutely nothing to do with the word innocent. The moment she saw Chuyang, her eyes lit up. "You're Wenjing's cousin? I'm Chen Fei, her roommate." Of course Chen Fei recognized Chuyang. The video of God Chu dropping one Korean challenger after another with a single slap had already exploded online. Then there was that interview about his special talent. There was no way she wouldn't recognize his face. The moment Su Wenjing saw the look in her best friend's eyes, she knew trouble was coming. Sure enough, Chen Fei had barely sat down before she smiled and asked directly, "Handsome Chu, I'm actually pretty interested in getting a much more in-depth understanding of that special talent of yours. What are you free?" Su Wenjing's face instantly turned red. "Chen Fei, that's my cousin." Chen Fei looked completely unconcerned. "That's exactly why I'm interested." Even Chuyang hadn't expected this. It was the first time he had met a girl this direct. But the serious matter came first. Su Wenjing pulled up a surveillance video. The timestamp showed 3 in the morning. A man in a white tank top and flip-flops carried a bag of garbage to their door. He set it down and quickly disappeared. And this wasn't the first time. For several days in a row, every night in the early morning hours, a stranger had deliberately piled garbage outside the two girls' door. At first, they didn't think much of it. Then things started feeling more and more wrong. That was when they installed a camera. But the footage never captured the man's face. Su Wenjing said, "Cousin, I know you're really good at fighting. Can you help us catch this guy?" Chuyang stared at the video for a while. With photographic memory, almost every detail in the footage was instantly burned into his mind. But catching the man wasn't the real problem. What came afterward was, there are too many different kinds of people living in this complex. This guy has obviously singled you two out. Even if we catch him today, what happens if he's back out a few days later? I can't stay here guarding you every day. The two girls' expressions slowly became serious. Especially Chen Fei. No matter how much she loved joking around normally, even she understood the danger now. The man showed up at exactly 3 every morning. Right now, he was only dumping garbage. But later, what if he suddenly forced his way into the apartment? What could two young women do then? Chuyang finally made a decision. "Don't live here anymore. I have property at Thompson Riviera. You two can move there for now." Su Wenjing froze. Thompson Riviera? Chen Fei's expression changed too. Until now, she had always assumed that the stories online about Chuyang driving a Koenigsegg probably involved at least some internet hype. After all, Su Wenjing had said before that her cousin's finances were pretty ordinary. And now, he casually opened with Thompson Riviera? Su Wenjing asked directly, "Cousin, where did you get that kind of money?" Of course Chuyang couldn't tell her that he had gone to a class reunion a few days ago, and somehow transformed from an unemployed young man into a billionaire worth hundreds of billions. So he gave her the simplest explanation possible. "I invested in Bitcoin recently. Got lucky. Made a little money." Su Wenjing believed him. "You got insanely lucky. That's Thompson Riviera." Chen Fei silently rolled her eyes from the side. "A little? What exactly did he mean by a little?" Thompson Riviera cost hundreds of thousands of RMB per square meter. And that was before counting the 1:1 online that was worth over 100 million. He called that making a little money? Did these two cousins have some special misunderstanding of the word little? Since there was a real safety concern, the move started immediately. Chuyang contacted a professional moving company in advance. The two girls had originally planned to pack only the essentials, but when they heard a professional moving crew was coming right away, they suddenly felt it would be a waste not to use them. So they started frantically packing everything. Chuyang used the time to step outside and call Sang Biao. "Little Biao, handle something for me tonight." Sang Biao instantly became alert. "Just say the word, big brother. Go near apartment 2032 in Daping Residential Community tonight. Around 3 in the morning. Stake someone out for me." Sang Biao's eyes lit up. Someone important enough for his big brother to personally order a stakeout on. Couldn't possibly be ordinary. This had to be some kind of expert. The moment the call ended, Sang Biao immediately gathered 50 of his toughest men. "Brothers, we've got an important mission tonight. My big brother gave the order personally. The target may be extremely dangerous. Bring everything you need." Dozens of men instantly became fired up. Mission guaranteed. Someone dared mess with big brother? We'll make him regret being born. Meanwhile, Chu Yang had absolutely no idea that his simple request to stake someone out had been interpreted by Sang Biao as a major operation. He only wanted to catch some creep who dumped garbage outside the girl's door at 3 in the morning. The moving company arrived soon after. Everything was loaded into the truck. The three of them went downstairs, only to run into another awkward situation. The Mercedes G-Class was completely surrounded by older residents. Chu Yang tried to squeeze toward the car. One auntie even got annoyed with him. "Young man, stop pushing. It's not even your car." "Chu Yang, I'm just trying to get back into my own car. Why is this so difficult?" Su Wenjing was laughing behind him so hard she could barely stand it. In the end, she had to call out, "Uncles, aunties, that really is my cousin's car." The crowd went silent instantly. The driver immediately got out of the front seat too. He personally opened the passenger door. "Young master, please." The expressions of the aunties who had just been criticizing Chu Yang changed instantly. "Young man, do you have a girlfriend?" "My daughter." The driver knew exactly what to do. Click. The door shut. Peace and quiet returned to the world. Su Wenjing and Chen Fei quickly climbed into the back seat too. The car pulled away. Destination: Thompson Riviera. When they arrived at Building A, both girls couldn't help looking up. They were really going to live in a place like this? Chu Yang asked. "Do you want a higher floor or a lower one?" "Higher. Better view." "Okay. 42nd floor." They entered the apartment. A little over 130 square meters. 2 bedrooms and a living room. A study. A kitchen. Top-end finishes. Panoramic city views. Both girls' eyes lit up. Su Wenjing, however, looked slightly embarrassed. "Cousin, then Fei and I can share one room." Chu Yang paused. "Why? There are 2 bedrooms. Wouldn't it be perfect for each of you to take one?" Su Wenjing froze too. 2 bedrooms. 3 people. She had assumed Chu Yang lived here too. So naturally she thought she and Chen Fei would have to squeeze into one room together. Chen Fei, however, suddenly perked up. With an extremely responsible expression, she volunteered. "That's okay. Wenjing can sleep by herself. I can share a room with your cousin." Su Wenjing whipped her head around. Chen Fei continued with a perfectly straight face. "It works out. I've been wanting to study tower defense games with him lately." Chu Yang genuinely didn't catch what she meant. "You play tower defense?" Chen Fei blinked. "Of course. For example, how to use a silver tongue to break through your million-man defensive line." Chu Yang. Su Wenjing finally understood. Her entire face turned bright red. She immediately covered her best friend's mouth. "Shut up. What is wrong with your brain all day?" Chu Yang finally understood too. He could not stay here any longer. "Anyway, I'm not living here. You each get one room. I'm going to check on the movers." With that, he made a quick escape. Chen Fei watched his retreating back. Still looking unconvinced. He was obviously tempted. "This is all your fault." Su Wenjing was so angry she didn't even know what to say. "He's my cousin." Once the move was more or less handled, Chu Yang remembered something else. Zhou Luanjia's concert is in 2 days. "Do you two want to go?" Both girls turned their heads at the same time. "What?" "Dinner at a Michelin 3-star restaurant. Free housing at Thompson Riviera. And now tickets to a Zhou Luanjia concert too." For the first time, Chen Fei felt that her best friend's cousin might be even more ridiculous than the internet made him sound. "Yes. Of course we want to go." After that, the three went to a Michelin 3-star restaurant. It was Su Wenjing's first time in a place at this level. Before she could even look at the menu, Chu Yang told the server directly. The most expensive tasting menu. 3 of them. The server paused. Each menu cost more than 8,000 RMB. 3 would come to nearly 30,000. "Yes, sir." Su Wenjing asked quietly. "Cousin, is this place really expensive?" Chu Yang didn't want to scare her. "It's fine. 1 or 2,000 for the 3 of us. Just enjoy the food." Su Wenjing believed him again. Chen Fei sat beside her, too tired to even expose the lie. This man had absolutely no normal sense of money. While they were waiting for the food, a man and a woman suddenly walked over. The woman was Song Lana, a co-worker of Su Wenjing's. The young man beside her was Yi Yuan, the eldest young master of Zhongqing Group. He was Song Lana's new boyfriend. The first thing Song Lana said when she saw Su Wenjing and Chen Fei sitting in a Michelin restaurant was dripping with sarcasm. "What a coincidence. You two eat here too? A meal here isn't exactly cheap." The implication was obvious. With the income of 2 girls who had only recently graduated, how could they afford a place like this? Chen Fei had always been blunt. She immediately fired back. So only you're allowed to come here with a man? We can't have dinner with Wenjing's cousin? Yuan had originally only come over because Song Lana did. But the moment he saw Su Wenjing and Chen Fei, his eyes lit up. Both girls were better looking and carried themselves better than Song Lana. He immediately took out a business card. Ladies, let's get acquainted. I'm Yuan, HR director at Zhongqing Group. Su Wenjing's expression changed slightly. The company she and Chen Fei worked for happened to be a subsidiary of Zhongqing. If Yuan really decided to target them, they could both lose their jobs. So Su Wenjing didn't openly offend him. She only said politely, "Young Master Yi, we're about to eat. Maybe we can talk another time." But Yuan clearly had no intention of leaving. He directly asked the server to bring over another chair. Then he even said, "Whatever they're eating, bring 2 more. Put it on my tab." Song Lana sat beside him, her face nearly turning green. She had brought her richer boyfriend here specifically to show off. But the moment he saw her 2 female coworkers, his eyes practically glued themselves to them. Even worse, Yuan started bragging. "Do you girls like jewelry? There's an auction tonight. I can take you." Eventually, in order to show off his connections, he dropped a name. "You know Tang Xinran, right? Young Master Tang from Feiyu Group. He's extremely close these days with that mysterious young Master Chu in Shanghai. Tang Xinran and I are brothers. With me around, introducing you to the top social circle would be no problem." Chu Yang had stayed quiet the entire time. But hearing this, he finally looked up. Tang Xinran was this guy's brother? And on top of that, Yuan was using Chu Yang's own name to pick up women? At that exact moment, outside the Michelin restaurant, Tang Xinran happened to arrive. He had originally arranged dinner with a beautiful woman, but from a distance, he spotted a familiar Mercedes G-Class parked outside. His eyes immediately lit up. Brother Yang was here too. Was the woman important? Of course she was. But he could ask her out anytime. A chance to play loyal sidekick to Brother Yang, on the other hand, didn't come every day. Tang Xinran shoved some spending money into the girl's hand. "Something came up today. Go have fun by yourself." Then he hurried straight into the restaurant. Before long, he spotted Chu Yang, and sitting nearby was one of the younger guys who usually followed him around. Yuan. At that moment, Yuan was sitting beside Su Wenjing, animated and excited, talking non-stop. Tang Xinran looked at Chu Yang again, and noticed Brother Yang's brows had already drawn together slightly. Crap, one of his own guys had caused trouble. Tang Xinran walked over. Smack! He slapped Yuan across the back of the head. Yuan instantly flared up. "Who the hell hit me? My brother Tang Xinran is." He whipped around. And then, his entire body froze. "Why young Master Tang?" Tang Xinran's face was terrifyingly dark. Yuan still had no idea what the problem was. He even excitedly introduced the situation. "Young Master Tang. Perfect timing. What do you think of these 2 beauties? They both work for our company. I was just telling them how close you were with young Master Chu. Maybe sometime you could introduce." Smack! He didn't even finish the sentence. Tang Xinran slapped him again. This time, right across the face. "Are you blind? Can't you see Brother Yang sitting right there?" Yuan held his cheek, and slowly turned his head. He looked at the man who had been quietly sitting nearby in ordinary casual clothes the entire time. A terrifying name flashed through his mind. Young Master Chu, the mysterious figure who had suddenly appeared in Shanghai recently. Accepted into the top rich air circle. Personally befriended by Qin Mu. Recognized by Wang Song. With Tang Xinran following him around every day. A background so mysterious that even the Chen family couldn't investigate it. Rumor also said he owned that globally limited Koenigsegg 1:1. And the god Chuan line who dropped one Korean challenger after another with a slap. Seemed to be him too. "Why young Master Chu?" Yuan's face instantly went white. The entire restaurant gradually fell quiet as well. Someone had already recognized Tang Xinran. "Isn't that young Master Tang? He just called that young man Brother Yang. Wait, isn't that guy God Chu from the trending videos?" It really is. More and more people realized that the casually dressed young man eating in the main dining room with 2 girls was actually the mysterious young Master Chu everyone in Shanghai had been talking about lately. Yuan didn't hesitate for even a second. Thud! He dropped straight to his knees. Su Wenjing was stunned. Chen Fei froze too. The young master of Zhongqing who had been acting so superior just moments ago, was now kneeling in front of Chu Yang. Tang Xinran slapped him on the shoulder again. What are you waiting for? Apologize. Young Master Chu. Yi Yuan immediately lowered his head. I was wrong. Everything today was a misunderstanding. I didn't know these two ladies were your friends. The surrounding diners whispered among themselves. Someone finally connected all the dots. So God Chu was young Master Chu. No wonder the Koenig said 1:1 was real. No wonder those Korean challengers offended Chu Yang one day and all their gyms got torn apart the next. No wonder even a rich heir like Tang Xinran willingly called him Brother Yang every other sentence. Song Lana stood to the side, completely unable to think anymore. She had only wanted to show off a little in front of Su Wenjing. Instead, the ordinary-looking young man sitting beside them was on a level far, far above Yi Yuan. Trying to save himself, Yi Yuan didn't hesitate to dump all the blame onto Song Lana. Young Master Chu, the only reason I came over today was because of this woman. She kept misleading me. After saying that, he even grabbed Song Lana and pulled her down to kneel with him. Song Lana's brain started working quickly at that point. If even Yi Yuan was afraid of Chu Yang, then if she could somehow build a connection with Chu Yang. Her eyes immediately reddened. Her voice turned soft and fragile. Young Master Chu, I'm sorry. I really didn't know. As she spoke, she deliberately looked at Chu Yang with a pitiful expression. Yi Yuan understood instantly. This woman, she was actually trying to switch targets right in front of him. Smack! He slapped her backhanded across the face. Song Lana fell straight to the floor. Yi Yuan's face turned red with rage. You were using me as a stepping stone? After dealing with Song Lana, Yi Yuan knelt properly again. Young Master Chu, please give me a chance to make up for this. Chu Yang finally spoke. How? Yi Yuan thought seriously for a long moment. When I get back to the company, I'll fire Song Lana immediately. Then I'll promote these two ladies. And, to prove his sincerity, he made another boast. Zhongqing is going to be mine eventually anyway. If young Master Chu wants it, I can give you the entire Zhongqing group. The next second, Chu Yang's eyes shifted slightly, because the familiar system notification had appeared again. Detected, Yi Yuan is bragging in front of the host. Reward, 100% ownership of Zhongqing Industrial Company, Limited. Even Chu Yang was a little surprised. Yi Yuan was the young master of Zhongqing. Under normal circumstances, he really did have a chance to inherit the group one day. So why had the system judged his statement as bragging? The answer came quickly. The system provided an explanation. Yi Yuan is currently only second in the line of succession. The first in-line heir is currently outside China. Chu Yang understood immediately. So that was it. Yi Yuan had always assumed he was the sole future heir to Zhongqing. But his father had already made other arrangements. The true first heir was someone else entirely. In other words, Yi Yuan's statement that Zhongqing will be mine someday really had been a boast. And before his father's years-long succession plan could even be put into motion, the entire Zhongqing group had already been handed to Chu Yang by the system. Chu Yang glanced at Yi Yuan, who was still kneeling. He didn't pursue the matter any further. Tang Xinran, you handle the rest. Tang Xinran understood immediately. His junior follower had been spared. Understood. Yi Yuan finally breathed a sigh of relief too. As for Song Lana, the restaurant staff soon escorted her out. The Michelin 3-star restaurant returned to quiet. Except this time, everyone around them was looking at Chu Yang completely differently. Su Wenjing sat beside him. From beginning to end, she had barely managed to say one complete sentence. She had always thought her cousin had simply gotten lucky investing in Bitcoin, that he had made a little money recently. That was why he had property at Thompson Riviera. That was why he had a Mercedes G-Class. But now, the young master of Zhongqing had knelt in front of him. Young Master Tang of Feiyu Group called him Brother Yang. The entire restaurant was whispering about some young Master Chu. Suddenly, she realized that she might never have truly known this cousin of hers at all. And the Wei Chen Fei looked at Chu Yang, was becoming more and more dangerous. Rich, handsome, powerful enough to fight, and with an unbelievably mysterious background. Most importantly, he still seemed to be single. How was this merely a high-quality man? This was basically a gold mine falling out of the sky. However, Chu Yang still didn't know that the real trouble wasn't over yet. Because a few hours earlier, because of that mysterious man who appeared outside his cousin's apartment at exactly 3 every morning, he had casually called Sang Biao. Little Biao, stake someone out for me. But Sang Biao had interpreted that as anyone important enough for Big Brother to mention personally. must be extremely dangerous. So at that very moment, Sang Biao had already gathered 50 of his toughest men, baseball bats, other gear. Everyone was fully prepared. All they had to do was wait until 3 in the morning. And the man who, for several days in a row, wore a cap, a white tank top and flip-flops, and showed up on time every day to dump garbage outside apartment 2032, while always refusing to show his face. Would he appear again tonight? More importantly, if he really did show up, when he opened the hallway door and discovered that the people waiting outside weren't 2 girls fresh out of college, but Shanghai underworld boss Sang Biao, plus 50 intimidating men, what kind of expression would he make? And Chu Yang had even less idea that during the short time he had spent eating this meal with his cousin, the system had once again quietly placed a major company, Zhongqing Industrial, under his name. It had all started with one college reunion. Only a few short days had passed since then, yet the things in Chu Yang's hands had already evolved from Bitcoin, luxury cars, and luxury real estate, into corporate groups, a security company, an entertainment company, a household services company, the world's #1 hacker alliance, new energy technology, and 2 silver string guards whose combat power was far beyond normal human limits. Now, even Chu Yang himself was starting to look forward to it. Next time, who would stand in front of him and start bragging? And what would the next ridiculous boast bring him? His truly absurd life as a super-rich tycoon was clearly only just reaching its peak.